In a family built on centuries of hierarchy, crowns, and hereditary rank, Princess Anne made a decision decades ago that still stands out as one of the most quietly radical choices in modern royal history. She chose not to give her children royal titles. No prince, no princess, no royal highness. Just Peter Phillips and Zara Tindall, two names that could belong to anyone in Britain. And yet, in 2026, those two names carry a kind of influence and public trust that many titled royals never achieve. This is the story of how growing up without a crown gave Anne's children something arguably more valuable: the freedom to build lives entirely their own, while still remaining deeply woven into the fabric of the monarchy. To understand why Anne made this choice, it helps to understand who she is. The only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, and has spent her life defined less by glamour and more by relentless work. She has long been recognized as one of the most active working members of the royal family, regularly topping annual engagement counts among senior royals, often taking on visits and duties that generate little media attention but real impact on the ground. Her presidency of Save the Children, a role she has held since 1970, has taken her to some of the most difficult places on earth, advocating for child welfare in a way that goes well beyond ceremonial ribbon cutting. That same no-nonsense, due-to-first mentality shaped how she thought about parenting. When Peter was born in 1977 and Zara in 1981, and was entitled to request royal styling for both of them, she didn't. Her reasoning, repeated in various forms over the years, centered on a simple belief: titles can be more of a cage than a gift. A title opens certain doors, but it can just as easily close off the possibility of an ordinary life, a life where you choose your own career, your own relationships, and your own pace, rather than one dictated by public duty from birth. And seemed to sense, long before most of the family caught up to the idea, that not every royal descendant could or should function as a full-time working member of the monarchy. By keeping her children untitled, she gave them room to become private citizens first and royal relatives second. Nearly 50 years later, the results of that decision are impossible to ignore. Peter Phillips built a career far from the palace gates, working across sports management and corporate sponsorship for major brands including Jaguar, the Williams Formula One team, and the Royal Bank of Scotland, before eventually launching his own consultancy. Zara Tindall became an Olympic medal-winning equestrian, following in her mother's competitive footsteps and later stepping into leadership roles within British horse racing. Both remain close to the royal family, visible at major state occasions, weddings, and family gatherings, but neither draws a public income or carries constitutional duties. They are, in effect, royal by blood and independent by design. As of 2026, Peter Phillips's life has entered a new and very public chapter. Following the end of his marriage to Autumn Kelly in 2021 and a later relationship with family friend Lindsay Wallace that quietly ended in 2024, Peter found new happiness with Harriet Spurling, an NHS nurse from Gloucestershire. The couple, who reportedly began dating in early 2024 and made their public debut together at the Badminton Horse Trials that May, announced their engagement in the summer of 2025. On June 6, 2026, they married at All Saints Church in Kemble, Gloucestershire, a location chosen for its closeness to home rather than any royal grandeur. True to the family's understated style, the wedding leaned toward intimacy over spectacle, drawing extended royal family members while keeping the tone warm and low-key rather than a full-state affair. Zara Tindall attended in a striking blue dress, visibly delighted to watch her older brother marry, and the day was widely covered as a rare, joyful moment for a royal relative who has generally kept his personal life away from heavy media scrutiny. Peter's daughters from his first marriage, Savannah and Isla, have grown up in much the same low-profile environment their father experienced. Savannah, born in 2010, made history as the first grandchild of Princess Anne and the first great-grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II. Isla followed in 2012, her middle name Elizabeth chosen as a quiet tribute to her great-grandmother. Both girls continue to appear occasionally at family events, but like their father, they are being raised outside the spotlight that follows more senior royal children. Zara Tindall's story follows a similar arc of steady, values-driven independence, though her path has run through the world of elite sport rather than corporate business. Reflecting in past interviews on growing up without a title, Zara has said she felt fortunate that her parents chose that route, believing it gave her and her brother the chance to earn opportunities on merit rather than inherited status. That philosophy pushed her toward equestrian competition, a discipline she trained in seriously enough to represent Great Britain at the 2012 London Olympics, where she won a team silver medal in eventing. The achievement placed her and her mother among a small number of parent-child pairs to have both won Olympic medals, cementing Zara's reputation as a genuine athlete rather than simply a well-connected rider. Her personal life has been similarly grounded. Married to former England rugby international Mike Tindall since 2011, Zara has built a family life defined by humor, resilience, and relatively little public drama compared to other branches of the royal family. The couple share 3 children: Mia, born in 2014, Lena, born in 2018, and Lucas, born in 2021 in dramatic fashion at home rather than in hospital, an event Mike has since recounted publicly with characteristic humor. Zara has also spoken candidly about a miscarriage she experienced in 2017, a loss that many royal watchers noted she handled with quiet dignity rather than retreating from public life. In more recent years, she has taken on a directorship at Cheltenham Racecourse, further establishing herself as a respected figure within British racing rather than simply a famous rider. What makes 2026 a particularly interesting moment for both siblings is the way their lives have started to intersect more visibly again. With Peter's wedding bringing the extended family together, attention has also turned to lesser-known relatives, including Peter and Zara's half-sister, Stephanie Phillips, daughter of their father Mark Phillips, from his second marriage. Her attendance at the wedding highlighted just how much the family's story has expanded and evolved since and first made her decision about titles nearly 5 decades ago, a decision that, at the time, seemed unconventional, but now looks almost prophetic given how other branches of the royal family have since moved towards similar arrangements for their own children and grandchildren. Both Peter and Zara have also lived through the monarchy's heaviest recent losses. The deaths of Prince Philip in 2021 and Queen Elizabeth II in 2022 mark profound turning points, not just for the institution, but for the personal lives of Anne's children, who had grown up close to both grandparents. Peter walked between his cousins William and Harry during Philip's funeral procession, a moment widely read as symbolic given the public tension between the brothers at the time. Zara, meanwhile, was seen at Balmoral in the days following the Queen's death, quietly reading tributes left by mourners alongside her cousins, a private grief made visible in a very public setting. These moments underscored something important about Anne's children. Despite lacking formal titles, they remain emotionally and functionally part of the royal family's inner circle, called upon not for constitutional duty, but for genuine familial presence. Looking at Peter and Zara together in 2026, a clear pattern emerges. Neither has sought fame for its own sake. Neither draws public funds or carries formal responsibilities. Yet both have managed to build public trust and admiration precisely because of that separation, through visible careers, ordinary struggles, and personal milestones that feel relatable rather than distant. Peter's business career and recent remarriage, and Zara's Olympic achievement and growing family, together tell a story about what royal life can look like when duty is optional rather than mandatory. Princess Anne's decision, once seen as unusual, now reads as remarkably forward-thinking. She seemed to understand something the institution itself would take decades to fully embrace, that not every royal life needs to be a public one, and that removing the weight of a title doesn't diminish a family's connection to the crown. It can, in fact, strengthen it, by allowing that connection to be chosen and lived rather than simply inherited and performed. In an institution often criticized for rigid tradition, Anne's approach to parenting stands as one of its quieter, more enduring legacies, proof that influence and integrity don't require a crown to be real. Princess Anne made a quietly radical choice decades ago. She declined royal titles for her children. No prince, no princess, just Peter Phillips and Zara Tindall, 2 names indistinguishable from any other Britons. In 2026, that decision looks less like an oddity and more like foresight. And, the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, built her reputation on relentless, unglamorous work. Decades of engagements and a presidency have saved the children since 1970. That same practical mindset shaped her parenting. She believed titles could trap her children in obligation rather than free them. So when Peter was born in 1977 and Zara in 1981, she chose to let them grow up as private citizens first. The results speak for themselves. Peter built a career in sports management and corporate sponsorship, working with brands like Jaguar and the Williams F1 team before starting his own firm. Zara became an Olympic silver medalist in equestrian eventing and later took on a director's role at Cheltenham Racecourse. Neither draws public funds. Both remain close to the family without formal duty. 2026 has brought a new chapter for Peter. After his 2021 divorce from Autumn Kelly and a later relationship with Lindsay Wallace that ended in 2024, he found happiness with NHS nurse Harriet Sperling. The couple married on June 6, 2026, at All Saints Church in Kemble, a modest, family-centered wedding rather than a grand state affair, with Zara Tindall among those celebrating. His daughters, Savannah and Isla, continue growing up away from heavy media attention, much like their father did. Zara's life has followed a similarly grounded path. Married to former England rugby player Mike Tindall since 2011, she's built a family with 3 children, Mia, Lena, and Lucas, while balancing her equestrian career and racing leadership role. She's spoken candidly about a 2017 miscarriage, handling it with the same quiet resilience that defines much of her public presence. Both siblings lived through the monarchy's heaviest recent losses, the deaths of Prince Philip in 2021 and Queen Elizabeth II in 2022, standing alongside cousins William and Harry during moments of national mourning, present not for constitutional duty, but as grandchildren. Nearly 50 years on, and decision reads as remarkably ahead of its time, proof that influence and connection to the crown don't require a title, just genuine presence, effort, and choice.